So let's start the conversation now. Desmond Selom Akpaku is Senior Revenue Officer, Customs Technical Services Bureau, GRA, and Quinsta Rabnando Edu, also Senior Revenue Officer, Customs Technical Services Bureau, GRA. Let's start with, the primary role of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority.
Thank you so much. So the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has the core mandates of one, mobilizing revenue for national development. And to do that, we collect taxes, duties, penalties, and levies on imports and then exports, which is deposited into the consolidated fund, unless it is otherwise specified by government. In addition to that, we also facilitate legitimate trade. Trade facilitation talks about standardizing our trade processes and procedures, so that it can reduce the time and then the cost of doing business. So we are trying to, it is our mandate to make sure that our importers and then our stakeholders don't incur so much cost in doing their business. So we are to standardize and then simplify our trade processes and procedures, so that in the effect can be felt when they go to the port. It will make them clear their goods faster and simpler. And then in doing that, when we talk about legitimizing trade, in international trade, we have two forms of goods that come into the country. We have the restricted and then the prohibited goods. So in order not to allow the import of such prohibited goods, that is why we facilitate legitimate international trade. Yes.
When you say you standardize trade, you facilitate, how do you do these things?
So to ensure transparency in our trade processes and procedures, we provide certain laid out rules and regulations upon which that is what every importer or exporter is supposed to follow. And to be able to standardize trade processes and procedures, Customs or GRA has adopted the ICT culture. So through that, we are able to remove all those human interferences and all those delays or roadblocks that will affect the duties and then the clearance process. So standardizing means putting in measures and then all those processes, and that is where we have the regimes and then the CPCs or the customs procedure codes that are used to when it comes to the clearance of goods.
Okay. Yeah. Talking about the regimes, kindly take us through the customs regimes.
Okay. So when we talk about regimes, we are talking about the processes and procedures that are applied in the clearance of goods. So when an importer imports goods into the country, you are supposed to declare your intent behind the goods that you have imported, and that is where the regimes come in. So the regimes, they come in two forms. We have one that is direct or non-suspended regimes, and then we have the suspense regimes. The direct regimes, it means that the goods that the person is importing is meant for home consumption, and duties have been paid on the goods fully, or maybe the goods are meant for export to another country. But when we talk about suspense regimes, here duties are suspended. Duties and taxes are not paid immediately on the goods because maybe the goods are not meant for immediate consumption. So the importer has the right to keep the goods either in a warehouse or send it to a free zone enclave, or maybe they are keeping the goods maybe for temporary, maybe the goods were imported temporarily, and then they will be later re-exported back to the country of exportation. So the suspense regime allows the importer to keep the goods without payment of duty, and duties are paid as and when there's consumption. So no consumption, no duty
Hold
payment.
on a minute. So if I bring in goods and I say, okay, these goods are not for immediate usage or consumption, I probably thinking of using it, say, in 6 months or a year's time, you can grant me the
Yes,
suspense
so the suspense regime.
regime.
So that is where we have the warehousing. We have the which allows you to keep the goods in the warehouse, but those warehouse must be licensed and approved by the Commissioner General.
Is that why we see customs bonded warehouses?
Yes, that is where we see the customs bonded warehouse. And then the same way, there are certain goods that come into the country, but they are not meant to be used in Ghana. That is the transit regime, which, because of certain countries in Africa, because of their nature, they are landlocked. They don't have the seaport, and we know air shipment is very expensive. So we have that international regime that allows goods to be imported into Ghana and then removed or moved through Ghana to those countries which are landlocked. So they move them through approved routes, through approved exit points, and because of the revenue importance, we have these regimes. We have maximum customs control over them because we are more interested in the revenue. So we have maximum control because the warehouse like this, we have resident officers, we have key. We have the warehouse locked under key, and then we have other control measures like placing of tracking devices and all those things on those
to ensure that the goods are
not diverted.
I mean, let's explain the warehousing of goods in detail. Yes, Rabina.
Yes. So, with what he was trying to explain, with the regimes, we have two, like he was rightly saying, the direct and then the suspense. The direct here means that the basic understanding of the payment of taxes here refers to that we only pay tax at the point of consumption. So at the direct point, or let's say the direct regime, it means the person has the intent or is clearing the things for usage. So it's going to be used, then duty has to be paid. Under the suspense, duty is deferred because it is not going to be readily used. That is why there is a bond element, what he's trying to explain. And we are, even though it's not going to be used now, we have to follow so that it doesn't end up like you lying to us and then you tell us it's going to be in the warehouse and then eventually it finds its way into the market. You make profit out of it, but you've not paid anything for it, which becomes illegal. So what customs does is that we have to make sure that we keep an eye on the goods that had come into the system. Where I say system here, Ghana, the goods that have come in, and monitor it. And by monitoring, there are certain things that we do. That was what he was trying to explain. We make sure the warehouse that you are going to keep the things are licensed. We have documentations about it. You can't just get up and say that my backyard is my warehouse, so I'm keeping the things there. No, there are certain conditions that you have to meet for that premise to be called a warehouse, where will permit you to keep those things. And in keeping those things, there are other obligations that you're also supposed to, meet. Exactly. So these obligations are, let's have a fair play here. Let's have a 50-50 deal here. You are telling me you are going to warehouse the goods. What happens if it finds its way into the market? Has the government lost? No. So there's a bond element to it. You have to bond the goods in there, and the bond is supposed to be at least equivalent to the cost or the tax that was supposed to be paid for the items if it was for direct consumption. And then there are other collaterals, if for lack of a better word, things we take as collateral to also secure if in case something happens to the goods there. Because like he said, with the first primary functions, we are supposed to have a certain fair ground for everyone. Someone can come and pay duty, and you come and tell us that because we permit warehousing, you warehouse the thing and you don't pay duties for it.
What if I decide, for instance, that even though I'm not going to consume now, I still want to go ahead and pay the duty?
Well, you can pay the duty. It happens. You pay the duty. These big shops, they bring the things. They don't want their shops to go dry, so they bring the things in bulk. They pay their duty and then still keep them in their warehouses. Once duty has been paid, the government doesn't really keep a key eye on it, because what I'm supposed to secure from those goods have already been attained.
Okay, but what if they add others that have not also been paid?
Well, if the others that are not supposed to, are not paid, that is where we draw a clear line between those that have been paid, and then if you are warehousing the remaining that has not been paid, that we have interest over.
You know, one of the things that people are really concerned about is the duties and taxes. And whenever you import, you're always concerned about how much duty you pay first of all, and then the taxes. How are these determined?
Okay, thank you so much. When you import goods into the country, we take into consideration several key factors. First of all, the value of the goods you are importing is very important, because it is based on the value of the goods that we are able to apply other forms of, or determine the duties and taxes you pay. The country of origin is very important, because that will also help us to determine the freight amount that we apply to the goods. Because in our system, we do our valuation based on cost, insurance, and freight. So the cost of the goods, the insurance on the goods, the freight, all matters. Then we have the tariff code, or the tariff, or the rate of duty that is applied to the commodity. And then in Ghana too, we also have other charges, and then other levies and taxes, or maybe penalties that are imposed by government. So when you add all this to the cost of goods, the country of origin, the rate of duty, the insurance, and then the freight, among other things that are paid on the goods that are imported, we are able to arrive at the customs duty that you are supposed to pay.
There's a question for you, because a lot of people, when it comes to, the very first time they actually engage customs with duties is when they are buying vehicles. Okay. So this one says, can you please ask them if they take into consideration the state, say an accident car, before putting a value on it, and what value do they put on it? Is it the invoice value or their own value? And we've gotten to that important point, up to 5 years, up to 10 years. Tell us, help us understand.
So thank you so much. You see, when it comes to vehicle importation or vehicle valuation, it's a whole, it's different from goods. Vehicle valuation, usually, let me describe it this way. You see, let's take that my colleague here, Queensta, is a manufacturer of vehicles. So when she manufactures the vehicle and put it out for sale, the first price, what we call the manufacturer's retail selling price, of the home delivery value, the price that the vehicle was first sold at, that becomes the actual price of the vehicle. So that is what will be depreciated, whether it is 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. So because of that manufacturer's retail selling price, it doesn't matter whether you go outside and the car was bought at $2,000, $1,500, or even if you were gifted the vehicle.
Not even if it's accidental?
Whether it is accident or not, because that price has been fixed on the vehicle.
Let's do this analysis. Let's say the manufacturer's retail selling price is 100,000.
Yes, 100,000.
Okay. then it is, say, a 2018 vehicle, so it's 8 years now.
Yes.
How are you going to calculate the value based on which you slap the duties?
We take it. Okay, so that is why we have the depreciation.
Rates, yeah.
So if it is 0 to 6 months, there's no depreciation. Then we have after 6 to 1 and 1.5 years. That one also comes. So till we depreciate till it is, let's say, 50%. That is if over 10 years. You get it. That is how come you are able
And
to.
over 10 years, you pay a penalty because you're not supposed to bring.
Yeah, you are not supposed to bring
An
bring
overage
overage vehicle because you pay penalties on it. So based on all that is how come maybe yours will be 2018, the same vehicle model or make of the vehicle, yours is 2018. You are likely to pay more duty than someone whose age is lower because the depreciation is graduated. So from 0 to 6 months, you don't pay any. There's no disc or depreciation. Then after 6 months to 1.5 years, there's another distance. So based on that, we are able to depreciate the manufacturer's retail selling price and then arrive at the duty that you are supposed to pay. So it doesn't matter whether the goods was whether the vehicle was given to you, whether it was accidented or not. Once there is a price placed on the vehicle, you have to. That is what we use.
Okay, interesting. Let's move on. But at this point, I want us to know, what the customs risk channels are and their meanings.
So, with regards to the risk channels, when the goods come in or the consignments come in and duty has been paid, there's an assessment in which he rightly said, we look at certain things to arrive at the taxes that we say slap on the items or the consignment. One of them, he said, was the origin, where it's coming from. After perusing all this, and then you realize that this kind of consignment that is coming, we suspect something with it. That's how come we come with our risk channels. So we have the red, we have the yellow, we have the green. The red here means that there's going to be an examination on it, and by examination we say that it's going to be it's going to be a mandatory physical examination.
Okay.
Where physical examination means at the port or the approved routes or means in which the goods are getting into the country, you are going to have a mandatory physical examination. And here, what it means is that, like some people say, or everyone knows, and they say that, quote unquote, and I'm called customs. You do port on you money in a good form, and you get it. That is the examination. We suspect something. When we scan and we pick something up, we have to do an examination. And the red, once it's tagged as red, it's a mandatory examination for. And then when we say the yellow channel means that your goods are just going to be scanned electronically. It's not going to be opened. And then we have the green channel. The green channel, there are some goods we call rush goods. Example, like the bullions, like the ammunitions, like the rounds. These are rush goods. You can't, day-old chicks, vaccines and things like that. You can't equally come to the port and then open the container and then examine them, because remember that some of them need a certain temperature to be viable. So those goods, they come, and then once we scan, then the green tool goes for people who have been able to, over the years, attain a certain credible status.
Okay.
So then they go through all of that. So those are the channels.
Then we have the blue, the blue channel, which is meant for authorized economic operators.
Okay.
So they are people that have been seen to be very compliant over the years after customs investigations. And then
finally, what are some of the offenses under the customs laws?
Okay, so customs, there are so many offenses. One, under invoicing, misdescription, smuggling, over invoicing over invoicing, under declaration. All these are offenses when it comes to customs laws. Someone will even ask, why would over invoicing or overvaluation be an offense? Because I have decided to inflate my price and then pay high duty. So how come you even arrest me for over invoicing? This over invoicing, we have companies in Ghana that have their subsidiary or mother companies outside, or even people who import. Because they have made so much profit in Ghana, because they want to transfer the money outside the
transfer
country.
pricing.
Yes, so they will inflate the price so that they will be able to transfer that money outside.
So that they don't pay taxes.
Yes, when it comes to the domestic yes,
tax,
so they will also avoid. So all these are offenses when it comes to customs.
All right, it's been great having you, Desmond Selomakpaku, who's Senior Revenue Officer, Customs Technical Services Bureau at GRA and Queensta, Irabna, and Doedu. Senior Revenue Officer, Customs Technical Service Bureau. Thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. We are very grateful. We now understand why we must pay our duties and how you calculate them. So next time, we import or export, we will not complain too much.